It is crystal clear that Michael Jordan has never liked or respected LeBron James. Today, I will be unpacking the full story behind Jordan's issue with LeBron, from how MJ dismissed the chosen one hype to surprising reason Kobe Bryant received the mentorship LeBron never did. Wait until you hear the shocking truth Jordan exposed about LeBron and Sean Diddy Combs. Trust me, this goes much deeper than you think. Let's dive in. If you know anything about Michael Jordan, you know that he lived on competitiveness. People call him the most ruthless winner the NBA has ever seen, and that is not an exaggeration. He did not just want to beat his opponents. He wanted to humiliate them and crush their spirit. That kind of mentality does not fade when you retire. It lingers and shapes how you view everyone who comes after you. So, picture Jordan in 2002, watching the media hype up a high school kid from Akron, Ohio, calling him the chosen one on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Before LeBron had even played a single NBA minute, journalists were already suggesting he might be the one to dethrone Michael. To Jordan, that was not praise for the future. It was a direct challenge to him in the empire he built. An empire defined by 6 championships, 6 finals MVP awards, and a brand that still dominates sneakers and culture decades later. When the media started hyping up LeBron James as a chosen one, Jordan was not applauding from the sidelines. He was irritated. To him, greatness is not supposed to be handed to you on a magazine cover. It is supposed to be earned the hard way, brick by brick, season after season. Remember, Jordan entered the league in 1984. He had to fight to the bad boy Detroit Pistons, deal with critics saying he shot too much, and prove himself year after year until his 6 championships and global icon status finally spoke louder than any headline. If you want proof of how personal Jordan takes these things, look at his Hall of Fame speech in 2009. On what should have been the most gracious night of his career, he used the stage to settle old scores with coaches, players, and executives. He spoke about a player named Leroy Smith. Leroy Smith was a guy who made the varsity team when I got cut. He started the whole process for me. When he made the team and I wanted to prove, not just to Leroy Smith, not just to myself, but to the coach who picked Leroy over me, that you made a mistake, dude. That is who he is. Michael Jordan keeps receipts. So, when the media anointed LeBron as the heir apparent, you can bet that went straight into his mental filing cabinet. Even LeBron himself admits their relationship is distant. On the Pat McAfee show, LeBron was asked about his dynamic with Jordan and said flatly, "We're in a good spot." To understand how deep this is, consider that MJ was LeBron's idol, the guy whose posters were on his wall as a kid. Yet, there is no substantial relationship between them. For a player as accomplished and respected as LeBron, that is unusual. Other legends are typically welcomed into fraternity. Jordan shared that bond with Kobe Bryant, but LeBron never received it. Here is the key point. The very things fans loved about LeBron, the hype, the headlines, the anointing, were the exact reasons Jordan never warmed up to him. To Jordan, those were not badges of honor. They were red flags. And trust me, it only gets deeper. This was never just about 2 players. It was about something much bigger. The empire Jordan built, the throne he guarded, and the legacy he refused to let anyone rewrite. Michael Jordan did not just dominate basketball. He reshaped what it meant to be a global sports icon. Before him, NBA stars were popular, but they were not global superstars. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird carried the league in the 1980s, but Jordan took it to an entirely different level. He was not just a player. He became a full-fledged brand. Consider the Air Jordan sneaker line, which remains among the most popular in the world decades after his retirement. Gatorade ran Be Like Mike commercials that kids sang in schoolyards. Space Jam made him a movie star. Every dunk contest, every finals moment, and every championship celebration became part of a larger story. Jordan built the blueprint for the modern celebrity athlete long before Instagram and TikTok could amplify it. That is what made LeBron's arrival so sensitive. The throne was not just about basketball statistics. It was about an empire Jordan had spent years building and protecting. When the media began suggesting LeBron could surpass MJ, Jordan did not just hear noise. He heard a threat. Here is another fact about Jordan. He is obsessed with his legacy. While many players retire and move on, Jordan never stopped caring about how people ranked him. You can see it in his interviews. Whenever someone suggests another player might be the greatest of all time, he becomes defensive. He will subtly downplay other stars and remind everyone that he went 6 for 6 in the NBA Finals. Now, imagine how he felt when a teenager was being hailed as the next Jordan before he had proven anything. Remember, Jordan was never shy about crushing threats during his career. If a young player tried to challenge him, he destroyed them. Recall how he dropped 55 points on a rookie Allen Iverson after Iverson famously crossed him over? Or the time he buried Clyde Drexler in the 1992 Finals after analysts compared them. That was his mentality. You did not get to share his airspace unless you earned it. And even then, he would remind you who was in charge. With LeBron, he could not do that on the court because their careers barely overlapped. So instead, Jordan drew the battle lines in the media. Every time he was asked about LeBron, he gave him measured respect, but it was always cold, distant, and calculated. He would highlight championship rings and consistently pivot back to Kobe Bryant when pressed about his successor. It was his way of saying, "This guy does not get to sit at my table." This sets up the real conflict. To understand why the Chosen One cover annoyed Michael Jordan so much, you must remember the difference in how they rose to prominence. Jordan was not chosen, he was overlooked. He was cut from his high school varsity team as a sophomore. He went to University in North Carolina, where he had to fight for playing time behind upperclassmen. When he entered the NBA in 1984, he was not even the first overall pick. He was elected third behind Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie. His entire career began with doubt and obstacles. The hype around LeBron James, however, was unlike anything the NBA had ever seen. He was on national television as a high schooler. His game sold out arenas before he even graduated. By the time the 2003 NBA draft arrived, everyone from Nike to ESPN to Jay-Z was treating him like the savior of basketball. The comparison started immediately. LeBron wore number 23, and he signed a $90 million deal with Nike before playing a single NBA game. His nickname is King James. The world was positioning him as the next Jordan without his having earned it on the court. Jordan's competitive nature was not just about opponents. It was about control. He wanted to control his legacy, control the narrative, and control who was mentioned in the same breath as him. Even years later, Jordan still makes subtle, critical comment about LeBron, as in this interview where he stated, "Between the two, that'd be a tough choice, but 5 beats 1, referencing his 5 championships to LeBron's 1 at the time. If the Chosen One cover symbolized LeBron's coronation, Jordan saw it as an attempted coup, and in his mind, there was only one player worthy of being called his successor. If there's one thing Michael Jordan has made crystal clear over the years, it is that his true basketball little brother was not LeBron James. It was Kobe Bryant. Once you break it down, the reasons are not hard to see. First, their personalities. Kobe was wired almost identically to Jordan. They were both cold, ruthless, and obsessive. Kobe was not trying to be liked. He was trying to be feared. That competitive nastiness, the willingness to freeze out a teammate or take 40 shots if it meant winning, was exactly how Jordan played. He saw his own reflection in Kobe in a way he never could with LeBron. LeBron's game has always been more about making the right basketball play. He is a pass-first superstar who would rather find the open man than force a difficult shot. To the average fan, that is unselfishness. But to Jordan, it could be interpreted as a lack of killer instinct. In his world, the alpha dog takes the final shot, no matter what. Then there is the work ethic. Kobe modeled his entire career after Jordan. He copied his footwork, his fadeaway, and even his mannerisms. In interviews, Kobe admitted he would call Jordan at all hours of the night to ask about post moves, counters, and mentality. LeBron, on the other hand, while he idolized Jordan, never sought his approval in the same way. He wanted to be LeBron, not the next Jordan. Because of that, a deep bond never formed. Do not underestimate the emotional connection. When Kobe died tragically in 2020, Jordan's tribute at the memorial was raw and unforgettable. He called Kobe his little brother. He cried openly, admitting how much their bond meant to him. That was not a performance. It was genuine love. You do not reach that level of intimacy without a deep connection built over years. LeBron never had that intimacy with Jordan. There is respect from a distance, but no mentorship, no midnight phone calls, no big brother, little brother dynamic. If you listen closely, that silence speaks volumes. It is not just about playing style or personality. Jordan has always been hyper-aware of legacy. For him, Kobe reinforced the myth of the Jordan way, that brutal win-at-all-cost mentality. LeBron represented something different: player empowerment, friendships across teams, and political activism. To Jordan, who carefully guarded his commercial image and largely avoided controversy during his playing days, LeBron's version of leadership may have felt foreign, perhaps even threatening. To this day, you will hear Jordan talk about Kobe with warmth and genuine affection, while his comments on LeBron remain clipped and technical. For LeBron, who grew up idolizing MJ, the lack of a definitive blessing has to sting. In sports, there is no crown heavier than the one Jordan wore, and there is no stamp of approval more valuable than his. In NBA culture, silence often speaks louder than words. Usually, the greats love passing the torch. Magic Johnson made a point of embracing Kobe when he entered the league. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar mentored Shaquille O'Neal. Even Bill Russell would show up at the finals to personally hand the championship trophy to the next generation. But with Jordan and LeBron, there was nothing. LeBron himself has stated they do not have a relationship. It is not as if LeBron has not tried to pay respect. He has openly called MJ his inspiration, his GOAT, the reason he started playing basketball. But instead of reciprocal support, LeBron has spent his entire career under the shadow of Jordan's indifference. The situation became even more complicated when rumors involving Sean Diddy Combs surfaced. Once stories about LeBron's associations and off-court image began circulating, it made Jordan's distance seem less like simple indifference and more like a silent confirmation of his suspicions. You may have seen the clip where Michael Jordan allegedly said, "LeBron always moves strange, not like Kobe. And when the Diddy stuff came out, I knew I was right all along. That's why I chose to mentor Kobe, not him." You've probably also seen the clip where LeBron was on an Instagram Live with Diddy and said, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." For years, there were rumors linking LeBron to Diddy's social circle, from celebrity events to casual social media moments. Most of it was dismissed as noise. But when a clip surfaced of Michael Jordan referencing the Diddy stuff, those associations were suddenly viewed in a new, more serious light. Let's provide context. Diddy has been involved in a serious legal battle, and in 2025, he was convicted on multiple counts following years of allegations from ex-partners, including Cassie Ventura, who accused him of abuse and coercion. These were not just celebrity gossip. They were serious legal issues. Now, consider the optics from Jordan's perspective. He is a man whose every move was calculated, whose empire was built on discipline, focus, and control. So when he allegedly said, "When the Diddy stuff came out, I knew I was right," he is not merely gossiping. He is observing behavioral patterns through the lens of someone who turned public perception into a legacy. Suddenly, a casual association looks less like harmless fun and more like a potential character red flag. The internet noticed immediately. Memes circulated, and fans used the narrative as evidence that LeBron lacked the discipline and refinement of a Kobe Bryant and was, therefore, unworthy of Jordan's mentorship. Jordan did not need to say anything more. The clip did all the heavy lifting for his supporters. Even fans who defend LeBron had to contend with the fact that the greatest player of all time seemed to view him with suspicion. The tension between Michael Jordan and LeBron James does not exist in a vacuum. The NBA has always thrived on rivalries. Honestly, half the league's history plays out like a mixtape of grudges. Think of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. This was not just a rivalry. It was a cultural war. East Coast versus West Coast. Lakers' Showtime versus Boston's Grit. They carried the league by competing as if their lives depended on it. And though they later became friends, they could barely stand each other during their playing days. Then there was the animosity between Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan. That was intensely personal. Thomas's bad boy Pistons created the Jordan rules, a defensive strategy many considered overly physical and brutal. Jordan hated it, and to this day, he has not forgiven Thomas. as he made clear in the Last Dance documentary. There was also the famous beef between Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. They were teammates who won championships together, yet they traded public insults in interviews and even on rap tracks. That drama became a legendary part of their story. So, when people say Jordan is not associated with LeBron, it is not shocking in the context of the NBA. Rivalry and personal friction are baked into the league's DNA. Fans expect it, the media fuels it, and players understand it contributes to their mythology. If the NBA did not have these storylines, it would not capture the public's imagination in the same way. One thing you must understand is that in the NBA, the blessing of the previous generation's king holds immense weight. It is a symbolic passing of the torch. That is exactly what Kobe received. Jordan's mentorship anointed him as the chosen heir in a way no magazine cover ever could. Fans saw Kobe as a man carrying Jordan's legacy because Jordan himself demonstrated it. He taught him footwork, praised him publicly, and showed profound emotion at his memorial. That endorsement made Kobe's status nearly unassailable in the eyes of many. LeBron James never received that validation. That absence has shaped the entire GOAT debate. Every time the media crowns LeBron, critics can point to Jordan's silence as a tacit disapproval. They argue that if LeBron were truly the greatest, Jordan would have embraced him as a successor. And yet, here is the twist. LeBron's career has been so historically dominant and long-lasting that he is forcing the conversation regardless. We are talking about over 20 years of elite performance for championships, the all-time scoring record, and continued production into his late 30s and 40s. No one has ever maintained this level of excellence for so long. So now, the lack of Jordan's blessing does not end the debate. It fuels it. On one side, Jordan loyalists argue his silence is a powerful statement. On the other, LeBron advocates point to his unprecedented longevity and statistical achievements, arguing he is redefining greatness whether Jordan approves or not. In a way, that may be Jordan's ultimate fear, that someone would claim the throne without his explicit permission. When you look back at this story, it is fundamentally simple. Michael Jordan built the throne. He created the model of the global icon that every superstar chases today. And when it came time to choose successor, he made it unequivocally clear that it was Kobe Bryant, not LeBron James. That is why the greatest of all time debate refuses to die. It was never just about basketball. It was about pride, legacy, and the one thing Michael Jordan never gave LeBron James, his validation. If you made it this far, you clearly appreciate this drama as much as we do. Go ahead and hit the like button. Drop your opinion in the comments. MJ or LeBron, who are you choosing? And don't forget to subscribe so you do not miss our next deep dive. Because trust me, there is much more where this came from.